Yeah, it's time. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you to every single member of this community because if it were not for this community, I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't have the friends that I have, I wouldn't have the memories that I have, I wouldn't have the business knowledge that I have, I wouldn't have my coaching career. I wouldn't have any of that if it weren't for y'all. Truly, genuinely. Most of the friends that were standing with me at my wedding were from people that I met from this community, and I learned about the company that I work for through streaming. And so, like, the impact that this has had on my life cannot be understated. It was a hugely, monumentally important part of my life. And so then that begs the question, why the heck am I leaving? Well, I like to use this analogy of a TV show where I have a lot of respect for TV shows that stop when the story is over, rather than the TV shows that when the story is over, they realize that they can, milk some more money out of it, and so they keep it running for three more seasons until everyone is sick and tired of it. And I think, to be perfectly honest, I have been milking my TV show for a few more seasons already, but I think that I want to do my best to walk away when it feels like it's actually over. The place that Peachy Tentacles came from was one of like memes, games, me being unable to find a job. Originally, the reason that like I started Peachy Tentacles or started streaming in the first place was because I was having such trouble and like fear job hunting. And so my mom suggested to me, she saw me watching Dear Nadia all the time, and she was like, "Why don't you try doing this? You play Hearthstone all the time anyway." And I was like, "You can't just stream, mom." And she was like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you already put the hours in, so like, why not try to make some money while you do it?" And I was like, "Huh, that's a good idea." So I tried it, and here we are. Um, and I was also incredibly lonely. I didn't have a whole lot of friends, and now I have friends and I have a job, and I'm focusing much more on those friends, and I'm focusing much more on my sexuality and discovering my sexuality and educating about sexuality. And I'm focusing much more on educating about mental health. And I have tried to leave in the past, to sort of quit. But the place that that came from was always one of burnout. Was always like, I'm trying so hard and I'm not getting what I want. And this is different. This time it is much more of a peaceful place. Like the gratitude that I feel is, like, I'm not just saying that stuff because it's a goodbye video. Like, the gratitude that I feel is truly deeply in my heart, and it just feels like it's time. It feels like a good time to say goodbye and walk away and start a new chapter. Um, that being said, there is definitely, when I think about my journey streaming, it was not all good. I mean, I talked about the burnout, but there is definitely some scar tissue around what I went through streaming. Like, multiple communities that I built sort of fell apart because of issues with people that, like, I am very close friends with today. Like, we had fights and like didn't talk for months and months because of streaming. And I think that there is some grieving that I need to do. And I don't think that I will truly be able to do that until I let it go. Right? Like, if you never accept that a person is gone, then you never really grieve them. And so I think that for me, I need to grieve the parts of Peachy Tentacles that were really that were really good and the parts that were really hard. I think that there's grieving that's going to happen all around. I think I'm really going to miss this. But one of the indicators that I get that makes me think that this is the right time is that it used to be when I would watch content creators, I would get so inspired. I would get so many ideas and be like, "Oh man, like I want to do that. I want to work on that." And lately, I've been watching some fire content, just some like amazing stuff that content creators are doing that would fit perfectly with Peachy Tentacles. And it just doesn't light my spark anymore. So that's why I'm leaving. Now, a good question is like, what's gonna happen to everything? What's gonna happen to all the socials and the Discord and the Patreon and all that stuff? What's gonna happen? So I want to lay that out for you real quick. So the first thing is socials, including Twitch and YouTube, are staying up, but they won't be used or monitored. I mean, I might occasionally pop on Twitch as like a viewer, but I'm not going to be streaming, and I won't be like monitoring like YouTube comments or whatever. Same thing with like Instagram and stuff. Like I'm going to be like signing out of like Instagram and Twitter and just signing out of all of those. But I don't want to delete them because they're like an archive. They're a big part of my life, and I want to keep those things there so that if I do want to like go visit them, or like maybe one day like I have kids or something, like I can show my kids what I used to do. Like they're cool, like they're like my version of home videos. So I don't want to delete them, but I won't be using them anymore, and they aren't a good place to contact me at anymore. The Discord is probably the most painful one. I imagine for me and anybody that cares about this community, because I am going to be shutting down the Discord. Now, don't worry, I'm not doing it quite yet. So you have time to like go and grab any screenshots or save any pictures or anything that you want to save. But I'm going to be shutting down the Discord because the Discord never became a place that was able to really like stand on its own two legs. Like it always required significant investment from me in order for the Discord to feel alive. And because of that, I'm not going to be investing in the Discord anymore. And so I think that it's better to just let it go. And for the people that do want to stay connected with me, feel free to shoot me a DM. Like I'm still going to have the Discord account. I just won't have the Discord server. So feel free to shoot me a DM if you want to stay in contact. This is in no way me saying like, I don't want my community to talk to me anymore, because obviously like I love my community. I would love to stay in contact. But I think that the server should go. And that's really hard for me because I put, an incredible amount of work into building that server. But it feels right. The last thing to think about is the Patreon, which is tricky because if I ever want a Patreon again, I won't be able to get the same Patreon. Basically, I am grandfathered in to like a founder's version of Patreon that has certain advantages. And so I don't want to delete the Patreon, but I do think that I will be unpublishing it. So basically, I will still have access to like all the archives and everything so that I can go back and look. But no one will be able to see it. No one will be able to become a patron or anything. And obviously, current patrons will stop being charged for being patrons. So that's sort of what is going to happen. Now, the next question is when? When is all of this stuff going to happen? So y'all know, if you've been around for a while, that I like to end the month strong. I've always liked to end and start months strong. The passing of months and equinoxes and solstices and all that sort of thing have always been very sort of significant passages of time for me. And so I want to end this month strong too. So I think that what I'm going to do is that I am going to do 2 final streams. And the reason that I'm doing 2 is because I know that there are people in our community that have stuck around for, that have been part of our community for a very, very long time that aren't always available on, one day or the other of the weekend. And so I want to do both days of the weekend so that, anyone that wants to is able to celebrate a goodbye, celebrate a stream one last time before, I never do it again. So it's going to be this Saturday and Sunday, the 27th and 28th. As of the time of this recording, it is Sunday night. So this coming Saturday and Sunday, the 27th and 28th, we're gonna stream what else? Jackbox. We're gonna finish with the game that we began with. Technically, the game that we began with is Hearthstone, but we're gonna stream Jackbox. And it should be a fun party, a fun goodbye, and then that'll be it. Now that being said, who knows? I may stream on like other. I may stream on other accounts. I may end up streaming on some other account where I talk about mental health, or I may end up streaming on some account where I talk about sexuality. Who knows? But Peachy Tentacle, I won't be streaming on Peachy Tentacles anymore. So that's my goodbye message. I love y'all a lot, and I hope that you understand. And please, if you are sad about this, if you do, want to stay in contact, please do send me a message and reach out, because I would love to hear from you. Okay. Bye, everybody.